Going to go ahead and get started. Today's session is all about the different ways that you can communicate with students in Canvas. So we're going to spend some time just reviewing some tools that you may have already used. Maybe there are tools that you haven't used fully, and just going over the different ways that you can reach out to students and communicate. And I think I know everybody on the call, but for those who may not know well, just a reminder that I'm Quayle Snowden and I'm the senior instructional designer that works out of the TLC. And John Glebe is joining me, and I never remember your title, John, so you can go ahead and say it.
Coordinator of Distance Learning.
And we support Canvas, faculty and staff use of Canvas here at Ryder. And so the way we like to run these sessions is, especially when we have a larger group like we do today, we kind of ask everybody to mute themselves. And if you have questions, you can go ahead and plug them into the chat. If you don't have your chat window up and open, you just want to run your mouse along the bottom of your Zoom window and click the chat bubble that will appear there so that you can type your questions in. And John will monitor that chat for me and answer those questions as they come up. And if there's something that I need to demo or show again or run through some steps, he will let me know, and I can do that in the Canvas side of things. So I'm going to get started by sharing my screen. Get this together. Okay, so my internet glitched on me, but I think I'm back. Does everybody see?
Yes, we do.
Okay, but there we go. That's what I want to see. So like I said, the objectives for today's session is kind of to cover the different tools that are available in Canvas for communicating with students. We're also going to review how to make changes to the notifications and user settings, which are pretty important when you're using the different tools in Canvas. We're going to talk about announcements, the inbox, conferences, and Zoom, and we're also going to review how you can use the Speedgrader and the gradebook to communicate with students. So just as a reminder why it's really important to use the communication tools, especially when we're faced with possible more remote instruction than we've ever dreamed possible in the spring and possibly in the fall, is it's just really a way to keep students motivated and engaged, especially if we're missing out on some of that face-to-face time with them. Using the tools in Canvas to communicate with them really kind of keeps those relationships going. Students benefit because they have the ability to communicate with you and share opinions. It really helps to promote their success, and the tools allow you to interact synchronously, which is in real time. So if you want to have that face-to-face time and answer questions immediately that are coming up, you can. And they also allow you to communicate with them asynchronously. So if you want to use discussion tools or things like that, where students have time to think about their responses, craft those responses, revise those responses before they share them with you and the rest of the class, they can. So as we're going through some of the tools that are available, you might want to kind of think to yourself, how am I going to use these tools? What tools might I want to use to remind students about due dates? How are they going to know that they've completed certain milestones? How do I want them to ask for help if they have questions? Do you want them to post it to a discussion board? Do you want them to reach out to you using the inbox? Do you want to host online office hours? And really just think about what are the best methods of contact that you want to use for your course with your students. So the tools that we are going to cover today are up on the screen. We're going to talk about the calendar tool that's available in Canvas, the announcements. We're going to talk about Canvas's inbox tool, which is the email feature that is available with Canvas. We're going to talk a little bit about collaborations, and in my test course, I've got the Google LTI enabled, so I'll be able to show you how you can create Google Doc collaborations or collaborations with sheets or slides. We'll talk a little bit about discussions and how you can use those. We'll also talk about conferences and Zoom. Those are the two live real-time options that are available to you. And then we'll finally end up with how do you communicate feedback and grades by talking about the gradebook and Speedgrader. So we always start, whenever we talk about anything in Canvas related to communication or feedback, is about notifications. And notifications are important because it's the way that Canvas communicates with students or provides those updates or reminders that they need about due dates, exams that are coming up, assignments that are due. When you post an announcement, Canvas will trigger a notification for that as well. When you are grading student work, students are communicated about the updates to those grades via those notifications. So it really is important to remind students as well to go in and update their notifications in the user settings area at the start of every semester, because they will only receive notifications based on what they've said in their preferences. So if at some point they've gone in and said, I don't want to receive notifications, then they're not going to get those alerts from you about those new announcements or about the grades that have been posted, because at some point they went in and turned it off. By default, everyone's default notification email address is set to riders. You do have the ability, and students have the ability as well, to add additional email addresses. So if you would rather receive those notifications at a different email address, you can set that up. And you can also add phone numbers if students want to get text messages. If you want to receive text messages, you can do that as well. I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint, and I am going to jump into Canvas right now. Give me 1 second. And everybody let me know if you can see my Canvas screen. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with the notifications. Again, this is just a run through if you've done this before. At the very top left, when you're logged into Canvas, you want to click the account button. And then you have two areas. You have notifications and you have settings. If we click settings, you would come into settings if you wanted to update the ways that you can be contacted. So you'll always see your rider email address at the very top right under email addresses. But if you wanted to add an additional email address for notification purposes, you would simply click the link to add the email address that's located on the right-hand side under ways to contact. And then you would simply enter the email address in and click that register email button. Once you do that, you get a confirmation email message to that address. Once you've confirmed the account, Canvas will add it as an additional way to contact you, as well as if you wanted to add your phone number so that you can receive text notifications, you can do that as well by providing your number, selecting your carrier, and clicking register. Once you've selected the email address that you want to use for notifications, then you can come up to notifications at the top to specify what notifications you want to have turned on and what level of notification you want. The check mark indicates that you want Canvas to send you a notification immediately, right away. You'll get that email letting you know that there's a new assignment submission, or there's a new email or a response to your announcement. The clock icon means send me a summary at the end of the day. The calendar icon means send me a summary at the end of the week. And if you choose not to be notified, then you're going to select the X so that it does not notify you at all. For all of the different activities that are listed here on the left, you have the option to specify the level of notification you want by just clicking on the icon to make the change. And it's just that simple to run through the list, select the notification level you want, and it's saved automatically. There is no separate save button that you have to click to save those changes. So again, this is something that you can update for yourself. And this is also something that students can do as well. So Canvas has recently made some changes that allow you to do this at the course level as well. It used to be that you could only set it at the very top level, and whatever you set here applies to all of your courses. But now Canvas has updated it so that if you're in a particular course, You're going to have the option to view course notifications. And when you do that, you have the ability to opt in or opt out of notifications for the particular course itself. So if you want to opt in, you just make sure that it's green and it's on. If you want to opt out, you click and turn it off. And then those same course activities that we saw at the very top account level are available in the individual courses. So for this particular course, I can change from notify me immediately to daily summary. So you can customize the level of notifications for each course now. That is something new, and we weren't able to do that before. So students will like this in particular, because if they have a course that's really not making use of Canvas, they can go in and turn notifications off. If there's a course that's making heavy use, they can customize the level of notifications for that particular course. So again, we got here by going into a course, looking for the course notifications button on the right-hand side. If you have a smaller screen, it might be listed at the bottom of your page instead of on the right-hand side. And once you click view course notifications, again, you're able to opt in or out by toggling that button on or off. And then you can change the level of notification by clicking and selecting from the menu that appears. Are we good with that? Any questions about that? Okay, so the next communication tool I'm going to talk about is the calendar. And I am going to click calendar here on the left-hand side in my navigation menu. And then I'm going to be patient, because sometimes it takes a while for the calendar to load and display on the screen. And so the calendar is really helpful for both students and instructors to keep track of assignments and due dates that are planned throughout the course. So as you're building your course, if you're creating assignments that students are going to submit online and you're putting due dates for those assignments, it is automatically populating the course calendar for that course. And so if I'm an instructor in a course, this is what my calendar would look like for the assignments I've created and assigned due dates. For students, it would appear this way for them as well. When they click the calendar, they see this open view, and it's color coded, so the different colors corresponds to a different course. And so in one screen, I'm able to see all of the assignments that are due in a particular week on a particular day. And it allows me to plan out my day. I know that I've got assignments due on certain days. I know when I have to log on to Canvas and submit that work. What's really nice about the calendar is that I don't have to go into my course and go into an assignment to make a change. So if I know that there's something like this is homework assignment, I want to change that due date, I can edit this right here and say, no, I actually want this to be due on the 15th. And I've actually modified that without having to go into the Canvas course and into that assignment and into edit. I can actually make that change right here from the calendar view. You can also drag and drop. So I did all of that to open it up and show you that, but I can also just select an assignment and drag it to a new date on the calendar. So you can very easily make changes without logging into the course. You can also add reminders here that are not assignment related. So if you're reminding them to attend a certain guest lecture, or if there's something online that you'd like them to participate in, you can very quickly create an entry by using the option here to create a new event. And this would be an event. You also have the ability to create an assignment right here from the calendar. And there's also something called a to-do. You can add to-do lists in Canvas, and so that allows you to create basically something that is a check off. This is something that needs to be due, reminder to read, reminder to attend something. I'm going to go ahead and click close. You'll notice that we are in the month view here. You can select the tabs at the top to change that to a week view. You can also choose the agenda view. So you have different views of the calendar that you can choose, whichever one works best for you. You also have the ability to turn on and off certain courses So what I've done in my calendar list, and I want to make sure you can see this over on the right-hand side, I have this whole long scrollable list of courses that I'm attached to in Canvas, but I'm only looking at the calendar entries for the 3 courses that are active. And you simply do that by scrolling through the list and clicking on the calendar that you want to appear in this particular view. So if I no longer wanted to see those entries for the Teaching Online Workshop, I would just click on the box to turn that off, and you'll see that those entries no longer appear on the view. So you can customize this so that it only shows a particular course instead of every single course. So you have the ability to customize that. The color coding of the entries is done by Canvas. I can simply click the 3 dots that appear to the far right if I wanted to change those colors so that it appears differently. Any questions about the calendar? Okay.
Quelly,
Go ahead.
I do have one. If I wanted to add an event for a guest speaker, for example, once you start doing that, does it give you the option to include it in specific courses?
So let me go ahead and click that Create New Event button again. And I'm trying to be patient because sometimes the calendar is a little slow to respond. Okay. So at the very bottom, when you're creating that event, you get the drop down that allows you to choose which. So it doesn't allow you to put it on multiple calendars at the same time. You have to select individually. So I can put it on the Teaching Online Workshop calendar. And then once I hit submit, if I also wanted it to appear on another calendar, I would have to edit, create new event again to select the other calendar. So you can put it on, select which calendar you want it to be on. It just doesn't allow you to do multiple at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Quelly, I had a question.
Okay.
Last semester, I had a problem when I gave a due date for an assignment, and then I sort of changed things as I was going through them, and yet there would be 1 or 2 students that would submit the assignment early, and then I couldn't change the due date. It wouldn't let me unless and then I had to contact you, and you were able to do it. How do I fix that?
It should not have prevented you from changing the due date. And I'm trying to think why I would have been able to do it, but you could not.
You did. I emailed you and you took care of it.
I'd have to revisit those emails to see what was going on and get back to you on that, because it should let you adjust those due dates even if somebody has already submitted.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me when I went to the individual course and did it there.
Okay. Well, I'll double check at those past emails and get back to you about what the issue might have been.
Thank you, Quelly.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So the next tool I want to talk about is the inbox. And so the inbox in Canvas, you might sometimes hear it referred to as conversations, again, is accessed by clicking the link that's in this navigation menu on the left-hand side of your screen. And so when you click inbox, it opens up and you're displayed the inbox for all of Canvas. And really it can be used to communicate with an entire course, so your entire student list. So if you needed to send out an email blast to the whole class, you can do that very easily using inbox. You can communicate with a select group of students. So if you've created groups in your course, you're able to select those groups. You can also manually select a subset of students to send messages to. You can also communicate with an individual student. And so it allows you very easily to communicate at any time. And what's nice is all of that communication is contained within Canvas. So it's not flooding your inbox with messages from students who don't necessarily identify who they are or what course they're in and what they have a question about. When it's done in Canvas, it's automatically tagged. You have a first and last name. You know what class they're emailing about because it's all included in that message. So when you're in the Canvas inbox, the default is that all courses are displayed in this inbox list. But if you wanted to look at a particular course, you can very easily filter, and you can choose from favorite courses. So if I wanted to look at a particular course, I would simply click that course name in the list. Oh my goodness, my patience. Okay. I'm having another lag here, bear with me. So I can filter by class. And so now it shows me that there are no messages in the inbox for this particular course. In addition to the inbox, I can check my sent folder. So it has a record of every message that I've sent, no matter what course I've sent it in. I can archive messages. So if I no longer need to see them, but I don't want to delete them because I may need to refer to them in the future, I can archive them so that they're no longer listed. I can also very quickly look at just my unread messages. What's also nice is if you have students who are commenting on submitted work that they're submitting in Canvas, they're replying to some comments that you might have made on an assignment and you're responding to them. You also have the ability to filter by submission comments. So you don't have to go into a course and go to an assignment and go to a particular student submission in the Speedgrader to see and respond to submission comments. You can simply come to the inbox, select the course, and then select submission comments, and you can very easily respond to student comments from this view in Canvas. To compose messages in the inbox, you want to look for the icon towards the top right of the page. Looks like a pencil writing on a piece of paper, and it's the Compose a New Message button. When you click that, you get the compose options. The course can be selected here up top. So if you needed to select a different course, again, you can toggle and select a different course from the drop-down list. To select the students you want to send the messages to, you're simply clicking on the address book icon. If you have no options for students here, you want to make sure you go back and publish your course. So if you ever come in this screen and you're trying to send email to students, but you don't get the student option, it means your course is not published. You just want to go back in, publish the course, and then you'd be able to select from the student option. When you click students, you can select all in students. So if you're sending one of those blast messages to the whole class, you want to say all in students. You would give a subject. And then one of the most important things I can suggest you do is select the checkbox that says send an individual message to each recipient. If you forget to check that checkbox, you are effectively sending a group text. And so if a student responds to that message, everybody gets the response, not just you. And when you reply to that, everybody gets that response, not just the student you're replying to. So to prevent that from happening, you just want to make sure to select send an individual message to each recipient. Then you have the ability to type your message in the text area. You can attach files if you need to share files with students. You can even use this option here at the bottom to record audio or video. So if instead of typing a message, you'd rather record your message as a short video, you can do that using the option below. And then when you click send, it sends the messages to the students in Canvas to their inbox, and it will also trigger a notification that will go out to the email address they've specified, letting them know that there's a new message that requires their attention in Canvas. Any questions about sending email in Canvas?
Quaylee, excuse me, what was the thing about a faculty journal entry that you could make when you send a message?
Give me a second. So there's a faculty journal that's available that's only visible to the faculty member. And so I guess if you want to be reminded about what you're saying to that student, you would simply turn that checkbox on.
It's more of a feature that's used in like the K-12 space,
Yeah.
and when faculty need to share messages with, say, guidance counselors to be able to go in and review an audit history.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So if do you automatically receive the same message that you're sending to your students?
Yeah, when you're sending this message, it will automatically appear in your sent folder. So you don't have to do anything extra or special for a copy of what you sent out to be saved in your sent folder.
Okay, because I at the beginning, I never got the messages that I send the students. I don't know what I was not
So
taking.
when you send the message in Canvas, it's not going to give you a copy of the message, but when you look in your sent folder, and let me pick a course that hopefully has some messages. I don't have anything that's active with messages, but when you select your sent, there will be a copy. I'll just go to all my courses. So here's a copy of every message that I've sent, no matter what course it is, and it's in my sent folder.
Okay.
So there will be a record of that for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to head into a course now, and we're going to talk about announcements. But before we go into announcements, I want to go into the settings for my course. And I want to click that very first tab, which is course details. And I'm going to scroll down and look for the little teeny tiny link that says more options. And there's a setting here that is not on by default that I recommend you turn on, especially if you make heavy use of the announcements tool. You want to select the checkbox that says show recent announcements on the course homepage. What this does is it gives the links to the announcements that you're creating at the very top of your homepage, and it doesn't matter if you set your homepage to modules or to the assignments or to the syllabus. It will display the most recent announcements as links at the top of the screen so that students very easily can see it and have access to it. You also have the ability to specify how many announcements should be shown at the top of the page. I would not show more than 5 because then you get a long list of announcements that pushes your content down. So I would say anything between 3 or 5 is good. Once you've selected that checkbox, you've set the number of announcements you want to be shown, you then update your course details. And what that does is it adds a feature at the top of your page called recent announcements, and anything that you've posted recently, and in this case it would be the first 3, will automatically show at the top of the page for your students. Okay? To actually create those announcements, you want to click the announcements link in your course menu. And so it allows you to very quickly and easily broadcast messages. Maybe you've made a change to the syllabus. Maybe you've got to clarify when a particular assignment is due. Maybe there's a due date that's changed. Maybe there's a guest lecture you're inviting them to. You can very quickly and easily click the Add Announcement button. Give it a title. And then you would type your announcement in the text area here. You can use the options that are available in the Rich Content Editor toolbar to format that. So if you wanted to include images, if you needed to link to outside websites, if you wanted to link to a file you've uploaded in the course, you can do that. What's also very nice is that you have some options down here at the bottom. You can delay posting. So if you've got a busy week and you know you want to remind them about something on Wednesday, but it's Monday, I can create the announcement now, but say don't post this until Wednesday. So you can go ahead and get it set up and ready to go. And then on that date and on that time you specify, I can even say don't post this until 12:45. And then at 12:45 on Wednesday, it'll post that announcement for me. I don't have to remember to come back into Canvas and click publish or click save. It'll automatically post that content for students. If you want students to be able to comment or ask questions about what you're posting in the announcements, then you want to leave the allow users to comment checkbox on. If you don't, if this is purely for informational purposes only and you don't want to monitor whether students are asking questions here, you can turn that off, and then students are just able to view the announcement. They cannot ask questions about it. And there is also a feature here called allow liking, which would allow students to basically click an icon that says whether they like a post or not. I generally never use this option, but that's what it's there for. Any questions about announcements? Is there anybody that tends to cross-list course sections? Yes, no?
Yes.
So there's a sections field here. So if you happen to have two different sections of the same course and you've chosen to combine it in Canvas, and maybe there's an announcement that is for a particular section, you're reminding them about something that's happening for their particular class, you do have the ability to post section-specific announcements. So even if you've combined them into one, you can post an announcement that just the F1 section will see, or you can post the announcement that just the L1 section will see. And if you want to do that, you just want to select the section drop-down and then select the section that should see the announcement. So you do have that ability to post different announcements for different sections in the same Canvas course site. I'm going to go ahead and click Save to create this announcement. Once an announcement has been created, you do have the ability to edit. So if you need to make changes, you simply click the Edit button. If you need to get rid of an announcement, then you would say Delete. And if I go back to the main announcement page, it will list the announcement that's been created. Okay, any other questions in particular about announcements?
Paulie, is there like a timeline that you can edit or delete?
You can edit or delete at any time.
Just realize if you're trying to edit an announcement, regardless of what you do in the edit, once you click save that first time, students will receive a copy of that original announcement no matter what, since they're sent to their writer email, for example.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if that's somebody for the pivotal, John, we're not letting them in because that doesn't start.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to talk about collaborations next. And collaborations really allows you to use the Google options that we have available here to allow students to work together on a document or together on a particular project. So if you want to create kind of like a text-based whiteboard where students can write what is happening in a particular class and refer to it later, you can. If they're working on a group project that you want to be able to grade at some point, you can use Google collaborations for that. And so collaborations is in your course menu. It's towards the middle of the page. I'm going to click collaborations. When you're in collaborations, you want to tell it what kind of collaboration you want to create. Because I have added the Google LTI to this particular course, I can select Google Drive from that list. If you have not yet added the Google LTI and you want to, send us an email or drop into our drop-in sessions later and we can walk you through how to do that. But when you add the Google LTI to your course, you have the ability to select document, spreadsheet, or presentation. If we don't have the Google LTI and it's just Google Docs, you're limited just to the document creating for collaboration. So again, I'm going to select Google Drive and I'm going to select spreadsheet. You would then give it a name. And you can give it a description as well, but that's optional, that's not required. And then what you do is you select the students that should be able to work on this particular sheet or document or presentation together. So if it's two particular students, I simply click on their names in the list. It adds them over here on the right, and that tells me that these particular students are the ones who will be able to access and work on this particular spreadsheet. If I had also created groups in Canvas prior to coming in to create a collaboration, I would be able to select those groups as well. Once I click Submit, it is going to create the Google Sheet in my Google Drive and automatically allows those two students that I specified the ability to collaborate and work on this from the Canvas window. So they have the access, they will go to collaborations, and just by clicking that link, they have access to that same document, that same spreadsheet, that same presentation that they can work on together. If you have 5 students, 5 group projects, you could create 5 additional collaborations here for each of the groups. If there's a single group project that the whole class is working on, it would just be a single document that everybody has access to. Questions about collaborations?
I have a question real quick. Is once you're in a Google Doc or spreadsheet or whatever, is it the same type of features just like any other Google Doc?
Absolutely.
Who's editing or typing and those types of things?
Absolutely. Yep. It's fully featured.
Great. Thank you.
Quelly, I'm in a collaborations tab for one of my courses, and at the bottom it says authorized Google Drive access. Is that what I would need to do for the LTI, or do I
Yeah.
need to still?
Yeah. So once, and you can see in this course that I'm working in, I have a link called Google Drive in my course menu. So when I added my Google LTI to this course, it creates this link, and the very first time I click on it, I'm asked to authorize. And once I do that, then it allows me to create the different collaborations with no issue. So yeah, the first step is to add the Google LTI, and then once it's added, you would authorize access to your Google Drive account.
So if I if I go into settings and drag that Google Drive option into the published section and save, is that how I activate it, or I really do need you guys to do it?
We'd have to look and see if we'd set it up for you previously and it was just hidden, or because that link usually only appears when we've added the LTI. It's not something that's listed that we just enable or disable.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the next tool we're going to talk about is the discussion tool in Canvas. And again, I'm just going to click the link for discussions in my course menu. And so you can create discussions for grading purposes. So if you want students to kind of have asynchronous class discussions about a particular topic or assignment, you can create a discussion. You can specify that it is graded and it automatically links to your gradebook. You can also create discussions simply for students to ask questions, like a Q&A forum in a class, where any questions that they have related to the class, you ask them to come in and post those questions there. The benefit of using a discussion for class questions is when that question is posted, everyone in the course is able to see that question because it's public. And when you respond, everybody is able to see that response. So it might cut down on some of the individual questions you have to answer, because if one student has the question, 5 of them may have it. So you've answered 5 people at once and not getting those individual messages via email or via the Canvas inbox. When you're in the discussions screen, it's kind of split up into thirds. There's a section here in the middle called discussions, and when you create a discussion, this is where they will appear. The order in which they are listed is based on the most recent activity. So whichever forum has gotten the last message, that is the one that would be listed at the top of the list. If you would prefer to have control over which discussions are listed first, you can use the pinned area at the top. So if we're working on a particular week or a particular topic, and that's the one you want listed at the top of the page, so it's prominent and easy for students to find, you simply drag it up to the pinned area at the top. If we are moving on and it's week 2 and we no longer want them contributing to the module 1 discussion, you can drag it down to the closed for comments. Come on. There's always a different way to skin a cat in Canvas if it doesn't want to listen to you. So you can control whether they can continue posting by using this closed for comments. When you move it down to the closed for comments, they can still see the previous conversation. They can go back to it, they can refer to it, they can read it, but they can no longer contribute. So if you want to kind of move them forward through the content, move them on to the next topic, you can close different discussions so that they're no longer able to actively participate. Creating the discussion, You're clicking the add discussion button at the top. You would give it a title. You would type the question or what it is they need to do in the text area here. Just like with the announcements, if you are cross-listing courses together, you can create section-specific discussions. So if there's a discussion for a particular section, you can do that. You have the ability to attach files as well. And then you have your options. Threaded replies is what I like to turn on because threaded discussions allows for the nesting. So if I ask a question and 3 people are responding to me, it threads those together so I can see the conversation in the order in which it is happening. If you are grading participation in a discussion, a feature you might want to enable is users must post before seeing replies. What that does is it prevents students from seeing what anybody else has posted until they've composed and submitted their own original response. It kind of prevents the cheating that may happen if you're asking students to respond to a certain comment. They can't just copy somebody else's response, change a couple of words, and submit it as their own. They can't see anything at all until they've posted their own response. If you are interested in grading the participation or the conversations that's happening in this particular discussion, you simply click the graded checkbox, and then you just have to tell Canvas how many points it's worth. And once you're done, again, if I save it, it's only visible to me. If I want to make sure it's available to my students, then I want to hit save and publish. Okay. There are some settings that are related to discussions as well. So I am going to click the settings link. I'm going to make sure, again, I'm on the course details tab, which is the very first one. Scroll down and look for that more options link. You can allow students to attach files to discussions, or you can turn that off. You can allow students to create their own discussion topics by clicking in that checkbox, or you can leave it off. Or you can also allow students to edit or delete their own discussion posts. If you are grading, you would probably want to leave this one off. If this is just a course Q&A form, you might want to go ahead and leave the ability for them to do that on. So if you are going to grade, I'm going to say turn that option off. Questions about any of those settings?
Yes, I had a question. Can you show like a scene from a movie and upload it to this so that students can then comment on something very specific?
Yeah. So if we're in this discussion and I'm creating a new one.
And while you're there, Corelli, can you also just talk about maybe adding a regular video to a discussion board, say, if you want to quickly record yourself?
Sure. So if you are talking about a clip, Miriam, and that clip exists on YouTube, you can very easily link to YouTube. There's the option here, and it would embed that video right in this text area. And you could actually give them instructions, watch from minute this to minute that, and comment on X, Y, or Z. So you have the ability to do it with YouTube clips. If it's in Vimeo, you can do that as well. If this is content that the library here at Rider has shared with you, you would use this option here at the top, which is Illumira, because the library would share that content. John, did you get that Slack message?
No, I'll go look that one.
Yeah. So you would use the Illumira option here at the top to link to library content if that's a film that you wanted to share. What John was mentioning is if you wanted to record or upload media, or if you're asking students to respond via video or audio instead of typing their responses in, you have the ability to select record, upload media as well for a discussion. And so when you click that, it activates your camera. You can record. If they have recorded outside of campus and they want to share like the video they created with their cell phone or their iPad or their tablet, they can upload the video file they've created previously, and it will embed that video in that discussion message as well.
2-minute warning, Quayle.
Okay. You said 3-minute warning? 10 minutes. Yeah. Well, we've got till 10.
That was what the message was.
No, we've got till 10. So conferences and Zoom. So if you're talking about real-time communications with students, if you want to do a live lecture with them, if you want to host office hours, if you want students to be able to collaborate in real time, maybe on a group project, if you want them to deliver presentations online live, if you want them to record those presentations, we're talking about using either conferences, which is available in Canvas, or Zoom, which can be added for use in Canvas. I'll talk about conferences really briefly. Again, that's accessible from the link in your course menu in Canvas. I can create a new conference. It uses Big Blue Button as the plugin. I am not limited to a duration. I can set it here for informational purposes only. While there is an option here to record the conference, please keep in mind that recordings for conferences are limited. They are only available for a short amount of time. I believe it's 14 days, and then that recording is no longer available to you via the conference tool. So if you're interested in recording and you need that recording to be available indefinitely, you would want to use Zoom instead. When you're creating a conference, you can automatically invite everybody, or you can invite an individual student. So if you needed to have a one-on-one meeting with a particular student and answer questions in live, you didn't want to do email, you didn't want to do discussions, you could set this up to meet with a particular student and click update. And just like with Zoom, when it's time for the conference to start, you click the start button, the student joins, and you're able to share your screen, share video, share audio, answer questions. Zoom is also another option you can use for live real-time communication. I'm going to click Settings. I'm going to go to Navigation, and you will find Zoom, if you have not already enabled it, in the list at the bottom half of your screen. You can either drag the Zoom link to the top, or I can click the dots and select the Enable option. It does the same thing. This is the only place in Canvas where you have to remember to do this. Scroll back down and click Save. If you don't remember to click Save, it will pretend like you did not enable that link and move it up into the active list. Once you've got Zoom available in your course menu, when you click it, you can schedule a new meeting just like we did with conferences. I will schedule a new meeting. I can give it a title. I can set a date or time. If this is recurring, if these are office hours that I'm going to host every Tuesday and Thursday, I can set that up and say every Tuesday and Thursday, beginning the 14th at 11 a.m. That will create it. We have our options at the bottom, so the passcode is on automatically. You can choose to enable a waiting room, which is similar to what you experienced coming into the session today. So if you are using office hours, you would want to enable this so that you can invite students in one at a time, so that you can have private one-on-one meetings. When you're finished and that student leaves, then you can invite the next student in. You have the ability to record automatically. You can also do like John and I did and record once the session has started and you're in Zoom. Again, the benefit of using Zoom over conferences in Canvas is that that recording does not disappear after 14 days. That recording is available for as ever long as we need it. I knock on wood as I say that. When you're done, you click Save. Just like with conferences, you can start the Zoom session from right within your Canvas course site. You'll see it automatically created. Every Tuesday and Thursday, the link that I need, and simply clicking Start will launch Zoom from within the Canvas course site. And for students as well, they come in and they click Join from the Canvas link as well. Questions about Zoom or conferences?
I have a question, Quaylee. If you have students in the waiting room, is there a way that you can either say something or send them a message saying, I'll be about 10 minutes, or there are 3 students ahead of you, or whatever?
Absolutely. So there is in the chat that we use to ask the questions during this session, there is an option for everyone in the waiting room. So you're able to select that option and you can say, hi everyone, give me 10 minutes, and anybody in the waiting room would see that message appear.
They would have had to enable their chat in order to do
No,
that?
it pops up for them automatically.
Oh,
You
okay.
just need to have chat open so that you can send the message.
And the other students who are already in the meeting would not get that. For example, I've been sent a couple of messages to users currently in the waiting room who are here for the 10 o'clock session, and you guys never got those notifications.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So the last topic we're going to talk about are the communication options that are available to you from the gradebook and from Speedgrader. And so in Canvas, we talked a little bit about the fact that notifications go out to students for certain things. So when you're grading in Canvas, the default is that as soon as you enter a score, as soon as you enter a grade, that notification is automatically sent to students. But you can specify, for example, for this particular assignment, I don't want to do that. I kind of want to mute it. So if you're familiar with the previous option that was called muting, that's done using grade posting policy now. So I'm going to set it to manually. That means mute this assignment. Don't let students know that I'm grading. And when I'm working in the gradebook, I can very easily click in a particular cell, enter grades for students. If I also want to give students feedback by text-based comments, I'm going to click the arrow and I have the ability to give them feedback in the text comment area here as well. When I'm ready for students to get the notifications about these grades, I simply click again the icon to get to my menu, and then I go to post grades. And I can say post the grades for everybody I've graded. And now Canvas will send the notifications to communicate with those students to let them know that those grades have been posted. If I want to send a reminder to the students who have not submitted yet or that I haven't graded yet, again, if I access this menu, I can message students who, and I can send a message to the students who haven't submitted yet or who haven't been graded yet. So I can say, you know, reminder, the work is due by 5 p.m. So again, I have not had to come out of Canvas, open my email, check to see who submitted. I can very quickly and easily from the gradebook select an option. It filters it automatically and gives me the students who match, and then I can send that message to those students. I'm going to access the Speedgrader right now to show you the options that are available from the Speedgrader. When you have students submit work in Canvas, you have the ability to preview those submissions here on the left-hand side of the screen. As long as it is a format that is acceptable to Canvas, I also have the ability to annotate directly on this particular submission. So if I want to leave a comment to a student about a particular area of that submission, I can. If I wanted to highlight something in the text to comment on that, I can do that as well. So instead of having to download and open this in Word and track changes, I can annotate directly on the submission here in Canvas. And then I still have the ability to enter a score as well as provide text comments. If I wanted to record my comments, maybe walk through the annotations that I've given here on the document itself, I can actually use the record media option to record that audio or record that video. Questions about the gradebook or the options that are available to communicate there?
Quelly,
Yes.
if you're highlighting and commenting on a document, do the students have the ability to download that so they have it outside of Canvas?
Yes, it allows them to download it as a PDF, and they would do that from their grades link. And so for students, they would access grades. They would then click the details for that particular assignment, and then it gives them the option to view as a PDF that they can download.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? We are cutting it a little close today. We have 2 back-to-back sessions. We have something that's starting at 10. But if there are questions that we didn't get a chance to answer, we are hosting our regular drop-in sessions today through Thursday. Today's time is 2 to 3:30. tomorrow we're there 10:30 to 12, and then Wednesday and Thursday, the times repeat that we had for Monday and Tuesday. So I'm sorry that we don't necessarily have time to answer questions at the end of this session, but we are available this afternoon or via email. You know that you can always send John or I email messages, and we can answer those questions for you that way as well. Anything else, John, that I might have 2 seconds to respond to?
One thing, just kind of, because I got this question from a few different people, both in the regular chat and as PMs, about how do students learn about Canvas. So just a quick footnote on that. The freshmen do learn Canvas basics as part of their orientation. All students enrolled in an online program, whether that be graduate or undergraduate, also get enrolled. As far as for that last little piece, there is kind of like a basic getting started module that we could always provide to you in some of your classes. If you are interested in learning more about that, just send us an email and we can talk about that a little bit more. It needs to be updated, but that's what we've done in the past. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.
Yes, and we will make sure to